Told you it was the world's worst joke.
But that's all right. In my house, we are a house divided when it comes to baseball. I have 4 kids. So we've got three Cubs fans and one White Sox. And I think he really liked the White Sox more because his brothers and his sister wanted the Cubs. So
At least he could have gone for the Brewers.
no, not in this house. I have a daughter who lives in Madison, and she and her soon-to-be husband are both Chicago Bears fans, even though they live in Madison. Okay, so we're here. We're going to get going. Want to welcome everybody to Lunch and Learn. Can you stop sharing just for a moment?
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. We are a career seeker support group. We're here to provide you with networking and support, with ideas, with tips, tricks, career coaching to help you move from the place that you really don't want to be to the place where you want that next forever job. Our goal is to give you those resources and that support. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I am a career transitions coach. And I've been doing this now for actually, next week will be 9 years. Amazing when I think back on it. But I've come to this role from over 30 years of experience in human resources. As an HR business partner, a hiring manager, I managed recruiters both inside and out. I was an external recruiter as well, what in my day we used to call headhunters. And I've been a hiring manager. So what I'm bringing you, the information that we all bring you, all of our resources, is built not only on our own experience, working with career seekers, working with hiring managers, but also with the information that we continue to get, not just from what we see in the news, but reaching out to colleagues, reaching out to the research groups, reaching out to people who are doing the work of hiring as well as the industry resources and the support groups. We're giving you the most up-to-date information we possibly can to make sure that you have the resources you need to move forward. In addition to doing this kind of work, which, as I said, I've been doing for quite a while, and I love, this is my way of giving back, I also do some private coaching, which helps to support this group. And I see a couple of my coaching clients here, so I want to just say hi and thank you. If you're interested in coaching and one-on-one work, I am happy to work with you on any aspect of your career search. I'm going to put my information in the chat, and you know what? That's the end of my sales pitch. So now we're done. We're going to start, Alice, in case you didn't know, we always start with just a couple of pieces of quick information. So the chat is going to be very active. I'm going to try and monitor it. I will not guarantee that I will, but if I miss it, make sure that you ping me and let me know. Because we have a large group, make sure that you raise your digital hand when you have a question or you want to talk. If you have a question, write the word questions all in cap, along with what the question is, so that if we miss it today, we can make sure that we get back to you. If you find something that's really exciting, important, a good idea, write the word nugget or something else so that we can find it. And not only that, so that you can find it. Don't just write, yes, that's great. Remember that you're going to go back and take a look at the chat, and so are people who haven't been in the room. So you want to make sure that you're giving us the context. What was it that was great? What did you learn? What should we all follow up on? What's important for you? Writing it down also helps you remember, and that's an important piece of this pie as well. The end tomorrow or Friday, I will do a recap on LinkedIn as well, so that we get some of those key points that we want to see. If you are celebrating a win this week, we're going to do this very quickly this week because we've got a lot to talk about. If you have a quick win, please raise your digital hand so that we can support you, okay? And we're going to bring up a couple of you and do that. And if you are new, please put new in the chat, all in caps as well. And let's get going. Okay. Share with us.
Okay, my quick win for this week is I'm going to have an information interview at one of my target companies next week.
That's fantastic. So how did you get it?
Well, first, I introduced myself, asking I'd like to connect because we're both project management professionals. I didn't say, let's have an information interview first. I ease in the conversation. I told him I'd like to connect. I thanked him for connecting. And my next message, we need to get 10, 15 minutes for a quick conversation. He said, Kevin, sure. I have time next Tuesday for a quick chat.
Excellent. Okay. So that's a great idea. So the idea is to find people who are doing the kinds of things that you're interested in, just as Kevin did, and then go ahead and reach out to people, make those connection requests. One of the things that I like is not just asking directly, can we have that informational interview? It's more about, you're doing some things that are really interesting. I'd love to hear more about your journey. Then it becomes more about them and less about you. You're more likely to get that response. And Barry, you did a great job with that.
And
Any other
key is-
quick wins? I'm sorry?
the key is I did not ask for a job. I didn't ask for information interview. Just hit I ease in slowly.
Yep,
So that's key for good information interview.
absolutely. Anyone else have a quick win? And so that if you're new to the group, quick wins don't mean necessarily that you got the job. It doesn't necessarily mean that you asked for that informational interview and got it. It means you took the time to ask. Okay? It's whatever you've done that helps to make you move forward along the way.
Sorry,
Yes.
I need to change my name again. I didn't realize I was using Damien's link. I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim. Okay.
And my quick win this week is that I had an interview on Monday with a recruiter at a company that I'm interested in.
That's
and I
great.
think it went well.
How did you find that job?
I saw the job on LinkedIn, but I reached out to a friend of mine who had a friend in the network, which turned out to be his brother, and had like a 15-minute chat with his brother, who passed on my resume for that job, and they called me.
Perfect. Lots of different ways to do it. That's a great way of sharing it. But please do change your name on the screen.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
I think I'm next.
You are
So I have been doing a big push to connect with people who do like things that I do, and recruiters who recruit for things that I do. And this last week I ended up with 2 interviews, one from those connections and one just from applying for a position. And so that was pretty cool. And I'm waiting to hear back if I get second interviews.
fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
But what you're hearing is that lots of different ways work. Okay. Direct applications work. Reaching out to people works. Reaching out to people either before or after you apply works. So keep those connections going. Remember, we're all your connections, and our connections are your connections if you connect with us. It's another reason to do that. It's like this spider web of connections out there. So it really works. Any other quick wins? I see one more, and then we're going to do one more thing. Okay. Dwayne.
Hi. Yeah, it's a win, but I'm also confused by it. So I originally got rejected for a job that I knew that I could do really well, but I saw that it was reposted, and then I applied for it again through a different platform. Like I think I applied for it on Indeed instead of LinkedIn, and I got an interview. So it's a success, but now I'm wondering, should I be adding that more and more? So thanks.
Adding what more and more?
Oh, reapplying for jobs that you've already been rejected for.
So it depends. I don't have any problem with that, depending upon how long it's been and which platforms you're going in on. And if you're putting in something a little different. Indeed is a good place to look for jobs, but honestly, the best place to apply for jobs is still on the company platform, the company's website. Don't apply directly on LinkedIn. It gets there slower than it would if you went directly to the company's website. Okay. But yes, if you see something that has changed, and companies will often repost. Okay, if they haven't found the right candidate or they took it off the market for a little while, nothing wrong with redoing it. Anyone else? All right. If you are new, we have time to talk to 1 or 2 new people. Let you introduce yourself real quick. Write the word new all in caps so we can try and find you. If you're new today and want to introduce yourself, if not, we understand. By the way, one more thing to add in the chat is if you have an idea for future speakers, we always want to know who those are, future topics, so that we can make sure that these work for you. All right. Then we're going to get started. I'm going to let Al introduce himself. By the way, remember, questions in the chat. Al, are you willing to accept questions as you go along, or do you want to
Oh,
let me?
absolutely.
Okay. So Al, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Actually, I have a slide that I'll do that. This is one of the workshops that I do on a regular basis. But here's the question I would like for everybody to be asking themselves, or put yourself in the shoes of a recruiter. Why should that person hire you? Because I think you need to differentiate yourself from everybody else because you have so much competition. You can tell I do this in workshops, so leave your phone on. So I want everybody to start doing some research on the talking heads you're considering listening to. And if you think that the person has something of value, listen to them. If you don't waste your time. And probably the least important reason why I think folks should listen to me is that I've been in your chair. My background is that I've been at the executive level for 7 different companies in 5 different industries, which means one of two things. Either I can't keep a blasted job, or I've got transferable skills. And every single one of you has transferable skills too. And if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. There's a big company out there called Korn Ferry International that says no matter what you did, you have the 85% of the skills that you need for anything that you need to do. But I've also won more awards than I have fingers and toes for. But the last time I found myself out of a job, it was for over 2 years. And you can dig yourself into a really deep, dark, dangerous place if you're out of a job that long, especially if you have an ego like I can have. And I was eventually, the things I was doing, my wife, myself, everybody around me, I was the most miserable to ever walk the face of the earth. Eventually, I was drugged, kicking and screaming to a job networking, the largest job networking venue in the country. And I didn't want to go to a job networking thing like this. I would never have done one of these things back then because I thought the only people who went to these things were, unemployed, low-life gutter scum. Hey, Al, what were you at the time? Shut up, Al. And when I got into one of these, I looked around and saw 300, more or less 300 people that were professionals, people that looked like you and people that looked like me. So I changed my perspective. Out the window went my great big 6-figure salary, much to my wife's chagrin. And I started doing research to find out why the things that used to work for me in job search were no longer working, and what the things that were working for other people, because folks were getting jobs. It just wasn't me. And so I found things that I'd never heard of before, like applicant tracking system software. You have no idea. You probably have no idea how long AI has been around. It's not the new kid on the block that we all think it is. So I put all those together into books. I volunteer somewhere almost every Monday of the year. Locally, nationally, internationally, even. I've been interviewed lots over the years, and it's because of my books, probably. Okay, so today is Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day that is wash day at my house. And my wife, who works and by the way, I take myself very seriously, as you can tell. My wife, who works in an office, will ask me from time to time, Al, if you have time, can you clean the house? And I'm here to tell you that housework is not man's work. It's not woman's work. It's just work. And I got a call one day from a buddy of mine saying, "Hey, Al, what have you done? What are you doing?" I said, "I just changed my French maid's outfit." It's like, there's some things you can't unsee. All right. So everything I'm going to talk about today is in my book, Hired: Every Employment Method, including Linda Brubaker's in it. But it's only a small part of what I'm covering today that is in that book. There's lots more. So I would like for everybody to take out a sheet of paper. You'll understand why in a little bit. It's for you guys to play with and practice with. So my first question is for everybody: do you know how recruiters find candidates? They have what they would call a requisition. You call it your job title. So whether they're looking on LinkedIn or looking on a job board, they always start off with the job title they have open. Now think for a minute. How many people in your metro area have your job title? Hundreds at dead minimum, more likely thousands. So they need to parse this down to get to a reasonable number. And they do that by adding a series of keywords, 3 to 5 keywords, to get this down to a reasonable number. They're looking for about 20 to 25 people to have a phone conversation with, a phone interview. From that first phone screening, it goes to the first round of face-to-face or virtual face-to-face interviews is about 8 to 10. The final interview is down to 3, maybe at the outside 5, and then one person gets hired. It's as cold and heartless as it sounds. So why is this important? Well, think about this. If you, anybody here, a project manager, I put together a workshop last year, and I was curious. I just took project managers as a title out of the blue, and I was wondering how many project managers am I connected to worldwide? Believe it or not, it's 12.5 million project managers. Well, I live in Atlanta. How many project managers am I connected here? 114,000 people. So let's practice this like being a recruiter. And if you're a project manager in the greater metro Atlanta area, and you have your PMP certification, and you are adept at Agile, and you are in information technology. Oh, by the way, a little aside. If you're in IT, take IT out of your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Look at my last name. T follows I in a heck of a lot of words, including my name. So put technology in there. Okay, so this project manager living in Atlanta, there's PMP certification, Agile in information technology, is adept at Scrum, and is in continuous improvement. 516 people left. That's your competition. So how in the world do you separate yourself from everybody else? You got to get people's attention. Ask this question: why should I hire you? What are you doing to set yourself apart from everybody else to become the benchmark candidate? Remember the TV show Mad Men? There was one episode where they were saying the cigarette companies could no longer talk about health benefits for smoking cigarettes. And Don here was perplexed, and he asks the question, how do you make your cigarettes? Well, we breed disease-resistant tobacco seed, planted in the North Carolina sunshine, harvest it, dry it, toast it. Toast it! Lucky Strike is toasted. Hell, everybody's cigarettes are toasted. No, everybody else's cigarettes cause cancer. Lucky's is toasted. That's your brand. You need to have a brand. Differentiate yourself from everybody else. What's finger licking good? Kentucky Fried Chicken. What's the ultimate driving machine? BMWs. You're in good hands with Allstate. The quicker picker-upper is Bounty paper towels, and only M&Ms melt in your mouth and not in your hands. You have a brand too. You want to differentiate yourself from everybody else so that you add more weight to you and the algorithm and the real life human being than anybody else. So what's the first thing that people see when they get in contact with you? On LinkedIn, it's that banner behind your head. What does that say? If you're using the standard banner, it's putty. It says nothing. I don't know that this is the right kind of banner to have on LinkedIn, unless, of course, you sell kayaks and fishing equipment. What does this guy do for a living? Immediately, you don't have to say a single word, and you know he's in cybersecurity. And all my books have the word hired in the title. So for years, I've been known as, have you seen that hired guy? So that became my brand. I want you to live your brand. But think about this. I'm connected to 75,000 career coaches. Only one is the landing expert. I'm connected to 360,000 systems administrators, but only one guy solves problems. Claim your brand. You have the world's best product. It's staring back at you every time you look in the mirror. Claim your brand and live your brand. Well, how do you communicate this? Okay, well, you can do it with a resume, but everybody has a resume. Well, there are lots and lots of different ways, and I want to go through a whole bunch of them to show you every employment method. How about anybody using a QR code? You can have most anything you want on a QR code. I mean, a QR code can handle everything that goes into a car because they were first built or created for Toyota. Why a QR code? Well, you can put your resume on it. Again, what else can you put in there? Are you using any marketing materials in your job search? This particular version, you take your sheet of paper. It's the trifold brochure is one sheet of paper turned landscape. You put 3 columns on it, and all of a sudden you have a 6-panel document that you can put anything about you in there, even things that you would never put in a resume. If you're straight out of college, you might not have a lot of background. So you might use a rack card, which is a third of that sheet of paper. A bifold brochure, again, 1 sheet of paper, turn landscape, create 2 columns, and that's a 4-sided document, a 4-panel document. If you want another sheet of paper, that makes it 8 pages. Put a staple in the middle. Anybody here who's in the graphic arts or a director and above at the executive level, you need to have a portfolio. You need to have a portfolio of what you do.
Now, I'm sorry,
yes.
can I stop you for just one moment?
Yes. Mhm.
The idea of those brochures, those trifolds or bifolds or whatever they are, where do you suggest people use those?
Aha! Hang with me.
Okay, I'll wait.
There's a guy out here in the Atlanta area named Jay Litton, and he has what he's called the Wow interview. And the Wow interview is a presentation material. It's a value proposition deck in a binder. Have you ever thought about making a presentation during your interviews, or asked to do that? Or even use, and if you're an older worker, and do it on your tablet and not the one that Moses came down from the mountain with the 10 commandments, but do it on your tablet. And if you're older, you're planting the seed that you're keeping up with the times. But you can also put videos on YouTube, put a link on your LinkedIn profile, and there's this 1 square. So where do we use these things? And these are examples of value proposition decks. So where do we use them? There are a handful of ways. One, you can print them and mail them to target people and ask for advice. Ask for advice on how that might be used, or somebody might make it better. You can also put it up on your LinkedIn profile, which I suggest. And when you're reaching out to folks, ask them to take a look at your value proposition deck. Some people like to use them in the first round of face-to-face interviews to guide the interview. I personally don't like that. I think it's a little hokey, but it might work for you. The place where I like it best is in a final interview. Now, in the first interview, when you ask the question, what do you want me to focus on in the first 30, 60, and 90 days after I get started? When you write all that stuff down, then you can present it in a 90-day plan of action. So you can have your value proposition deck, and if the opportunity arises in the final interview, let's go through it. But at least you have that, including the 90-day POA, as a leave behind. And nobody is going to have anything like this. I had one client, well, I'm going to share with that in a little bit. Talk about making a statement. This guy lived in these 6 countries, and he worked in those and all of these. 2 words on the page, 2 words, and he's spoken volumes. How about using arrows? This immediately plants the seed that you're increasing your responsibility over time. All this subliminal messaging. Here are the companies that this guy worked for. And no matter what company he worked for, he was getting promotions, no matter what the industry he was in. And by the way, this was a COO candidate, and he said if he were receiving this from a candidate, he'd be very impressed. So here's somebody that during his period of transition, he didn't sit on his duff doing nothing. No, he honed his skills, taking 16 different LinkedIn learning courses. So why not brag about that? Now, if you say you're better than sliced bread, nobody will listen to you. But if you add a sheet in your value proposition deck, taking a phrase or a sentence out of a recommendation, and then saying who gave you that recommendation, that's a third-party proof source. They're saying it about you, not you. And so here's, again, what you want me to focus on the first 30, 60, and 90 days. You can prepare this in advance and fill in the blanks and present it in a final interview. Once again, nobody's going to do this. Does this work? Here's the example, one of my favorite examples. Bill was 70 years old when he came to me. He hadn't worked in a couple of years, but he was bored. He wanted to do something. What did he want to do? Well, what he did before was micro-focused COBOL. I mean, ancient technology, the stuff that it got started on. He hadn't interviewed in years, and I wanted him to practice. So I said, Bill, go to this interview that you don't want to work for this company for and use your value proposition deck. He did. He went through it, and the hiring manager loved it, said, this is the most professional document I've ever seen. She offered him a job. He turned it down. A couple of weeks later, he went to work for Anthem Blue Cross, working on Micro Focus COBOL. Other things, and here are the ways to use it, and I'll put all of them up at one time, but we've already heard it. On your LinkedIn profile, in informational interviews. I don't like it in the first round of interviews. I love it in the final interview, even if you just use it as a leave behind. But a value proposition deck can actually help you get a promotion within a company. And that's what this former client of mine did. He was frustrated. He had qualified for a promotion 3 years earlier. The spot hadn't opened up. He said he was either going to get a promotion or he was going to go somewhere else. He didn't tell his people that. But they saw this. They hadn't even realized that he was the #1 store in all of Longhorn Steakhouse chain. He had the #1 in a town called Canton, Georgia. So he got his promotion within the company. His second year, he was the #1 region in the company. One thing you don't want is death by PowerPoint. Nobody would read any of that. That was directly from a former client. So, hey, Al, anything else? Well, how about a video uploaded to YouTube? You put the link on your LinkedIn profile. Bingo, you got something different. You can animate a PowerPoint, which I did. Now, ever since COVID started, 4 o'clock Eastern every Sunday, I have a Zoom call with my soon-to-be 96-year-old mother in New Orleans, who still teaches mathematics, my older sister in Boston, my younger sister in Chicago, my niece in Washington, D.C., and nephew in the San Francisco Bay Area. My mother's birthday was on a Sunday this one year, and my brother-in-law had digitized a lot of photographs. So I created a PowerPoint going back to her childhood in the Dust Bowl, the center of the Dust Bowl. I narrated it. I animated. It's a damn good thing I narrated it in advance, because it teared me up 2 or 3 times. And then I uploaded it to YouTube. You can do this for yourself and in job search and have people look at it. Nobody else is going to do this. Anybody been to a convention? Try to go to conventions or association meetings. Surround yourself with people who have jobs. They often know where jobs are. In this case, I was looking for a job, and I spent a lot of my time in the dermatology world of pharmaceuticals. The American Academy of Dermatology is based in Chicago, Illinois. It just so happens that I have a sister who lives outside of Chicago. I can stay at her house. I had friends who could get me onto the floor of the convention. But how do I meet people? Well, I created invitations, and I mean, I laid this on thick. And what I did was take a fine calligraphy pen to write the person's name on the inside of the invitation, folded it up, put it inside of an envelope. Let me show you how to do this. How do we get past the gatekeeper? Here's how. I took the invitation, put the person's name on it, put that inside of an envelope with a wider calligraphy pen with the person's name on it, put the sealed envelope inside of a manila envelope, and sent it to all the company presidents that I was hoping to get to see. Now, when it gets to the office, the executive assistant is going to open up the manila envelope, take a look at what appears to be an invitation to her boss or his boss. They're going to look at it, look it up to the light, and they're going to see, oh, yeah, it looks like an invitation, and it's going to get to their desk unopened. How do I know this? Because my wife's name is Terry, and she's a secretary, and she even calls herself Mrs. Kravitz, if anybody old enough to remember Bewitched. How about direct communication to company presidents and so forth, the higher executives, at least 2 levels above you? This happened to be put together by a very analytical client that came from quarterly and annual reports. And I can't tell you the company that it went to, but it's a large aircraft manufacturing company that rhymes with Boeing. And how much does a FedEx envelope cost? Anybody? Anybody? It costs nothing. How about putting a value proposition deck inside of a FedEx envelope, seal it, address it, drive to an office, a target office, and ask the receptionist, can you get this to so-and-so? I say this because my wife never opens FedEx envelopes. She's an executive assistant. She opens everything else except the FedEx envelopes. And I know what you're thinking. I don't mail anything. Only old farts mail things. That's exactly why you want to mail stuff. Let me give you an example. I had a client who wanted to be, well, he had experience as managing big box stores. He found that Walmart had a regional office, regional president's office here in the Atlanta area. He mailed a value proposition deck to the regional president of Walmart. He waited a few days until he thought that the envelope would have arrived. He calls the office and gets the regional president's admin, explains what he was doing, and asks if the mail had come. She said, well, it just came. Let me go see if it's there. And she was back in a flash. And he thought about this real quickly and said, well, how many pieces of U.S. mail does the regional president of Walmart get in a given day? Oh, about 4 to 6 pieces. People are opening U.S. mail. Think about trying to send things electronically. How much goes immediately in your inbox immediately goes to spam or gets deleted? And if there's an attachment, a lot of the firewalls won't allow the attachment. Sending things through the mail, old school, is getting to people. Anything else? Oh, I forgot to mention, I am a super genius. And when you're as smart as me, they give you a really cute hat. So let me think about this. Tell them. I was friends with a guy across the street. David Kimmel is his name. But David was an architect and an engineer. And he actually designed and helped build the Georgia Aquarium, the largest aquarium in the country. Now, he ended up becoming the president of the aquarium, and he and his wife had moved to another neighborhood, and we didn't see them as often as we once did, but we still remained friends. I'd gone in and out of job search a handful of times, but I never thought to tell David. I'm a sales executive. He's an engineer and an architect. So why would I tell him? Well, we got invited to their 36th wedding anniversary at the Georgia Aquarium. And we were one of 16, we were at one of 16 tables populated by the most important business executives in the greater Atlanta area. I could easily have reached out to my friend David, told him the position I was in, and he could have introduced me to any one of these. And it's not just executives. I mean, it's in their best interest of your financial advisor for you to have a job so you can invest more with them. The same thing goes with your insurance agent and even the person that cuts your hair. How many people does your barber or hairdresser deal with every single day? You never can tell too many people. And think about the 3-foot rule. If somebody's within 3 feet of you, tell them the position you're in so that they can possibly help you. Then there's networking. If you get a referral, I mean, getting referrals, you need to be working people inside target companies. So why do we do this? Because a lot of companies have referral programs. 84% of companies use a referral program or have it instituted at some point or another. It costs a lot of money to hire somebody, to place an ad and go through the hiring process. And statistics show companies that people who are referred perform better and stay longer. Salesforce, for instance, is the highest referral rate of any company. If you want to work for Salesforce, by God, you better find somebody inside there. The employee that refers you gets a nice big fat bonus, and they get a greater ROI. Here's another one. You're 4 times more likely to get employed at Apollo Technical if you have a referral. They stay longer, more years, and they're much more satisfied by the people that they hire through referrals. Reach out to people at target companies, get to know them. Here, might want to take this as a screenshot. These are companies that are really heavy into referral programs. There are some negatives though, and I think I need to put these out there. White guys get the most of them. Black women are the worst, 35% less likely to get a referral. Men of color, 26% less, and white women, 12% less. All right, so we're all going to networking meetings, I would assume. I hope you're smarter than the super genius in front of you, because when I would go to these meetings, I would make nice with folks, get their business card, give them mine. And when I would get home, I would open this drawer right here, toss my business cards in the top drawer, and they never to be seen again. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? How about we follow up with something? Because I would tell people I was a sales executive, and the only thing they heard was that I was a salesman. Well, no, it's a big difference. So how about creating a marketing plan or an open to work document and follow up with those people that you have met? It's another bite at the apple. Nobody else. I mean, it talks about your character. This is what you're going to be like when you are hired by them or they refer you to somebody else. What do you do after an interview? How do you follow up after an interview? Most people, I would like you to send an electronic thank you between 5 and 6 p.m. the day of your interview. Why? There's a timestamp when you send that email. So if they get it that afternoon, they see that you're working after hours, but not crazy after hours. It plants that seed. If they get it the next day, once again, you're going to see the timestamp. You might want to also send a USPS thank you note. Another bite at the apple, if you can possibly send one. Nobody does this. You're going to set yourself away from the crowd. Now, usually we reach back out after a couple of weeks, but you can get ghosted. What do you do then? You don't want to be a pest, right? Well, how about if you set up Google Alerts? What's a Google Alert? Well, you go to Google Alert and you can set something up, a topic of your choice, so that content comes to your inbox. Create that alert, and here it comes. So you choose something that you think might be interesting. You click on it. You grab the URL. You might go to bit.ly and shorten that URL. And then you might want to send an email to the person that you interviewed with. And this is also good months after, if you get a rejection, and you do this. Give them a reason to open up your email. Found this article, thought of you. Personalize it. You talk about nothing about the job, but about what the title and the author and the content is, and you include the URL, but a reason to say you don't have to open it. Here's where you can find it on your own. That's it. And so now you're four in their mind. And sending something like this about 3 months after you've gotten a rejection note, just before 3 months, well, maybe that person didn't work out and they go to you instead. They liked you enough to interview you. You qualified for the job. Why not reach back out? What's it going to cost you? But a few minutes of your time. You don't want to be a pest. You want to become a resource to them. So what else can we do with that URL? Well, okay, so how about we go to LinkedIn and post material? You can go to the LinkedIn activity broadcast, put some words about about the subject, put the URL in there, and it will populate. Now, you always want to have art. So if it doesn't come with a picture, find a picture to go with it. It gets more attention. You go in the home activity broadcast, and it can be, I want you to be active in 4 industry groups. You can be a member of 50, but I want you to be active in 4 industry groups. Want to have the groups that have a lot of activity and a lot of people, because when recruiters have a difficult time filling a position, lots of times they will become a member of an industry group, looking for the people who are most active, believing that those are thought leaders. You end up, LinkedIn tells us you get lots more views that way. And if you're investing 4 hours per week, LinkedIn tells us you have a 1,300% greater chance of getting your profile viewed. But even if you're just doing it 1 time a week, LinkedIn tells us you have a 400% chance of having more views, or you get 400% more views, I should say. So you want to post your own material, but comment on other people's posts. This is all part of networking, and this is going to help you get a job more quickly. You're going to get seen more often. You want more profile views. More profile views. Not that you appeared in a search, that means nothing. You want profile views. And when I'm active on LinkedIn, I get a hell of a lot more profile views than when I get lazy. Hint, hint, hint. You also want to follow target companies. Our friend Donna Savi says that's one of the spotlights that a lot of companies will use to separate you from other applicants. So you want to show your interest in that company or those companies. You also want to show that you're open to work, and I've gone 180 degrees from when the green banner first came out. I was against it because I got so much spam. I've gone 180 degrees. At least I'm smart enough to do that. People are using this to immediately see that you are open, but when you get a job, change it to recruiters only. You should always be at least in passive job search mode. Hint. Also, you want to be active. You want to share and be active on their sites, and that you want to reach out to connect or people to connect inside those companies. It also helps you when you have applied to say, I've applied to this job with that requisition number. Can you take my resume out of the queue? I think it'd be a great fit. What's the worst that they could do? Say no? I mean, you can't get fired from a job you ain't yet got. I'm an English minor, can you tell? So skills, the skills section. How are you doing with your skills? You know that you have 100 skills available to you now. That's doubled from just about 2 years ago. You want to use those skills, post them, put them on there, ask somebody to click on 5 of them. Name the 5 you want and have it done once or twice. Even though it's a small part of the LinkedIn algorithm, I believe it's been added, some weight has been added to it since they went from 50 to 100. So you want to add skills and state where that skill applies. How do we do that? Okay, well, let's go to one of the skills. I'm going to go to this skill. I'm going to click on the little pencil. It's going to take me to a page that looks like this. And I used executive development everywhere except this one job down there. Where does it apply? Click, bingo, you're done. Save it, and there we go. Oh my God, not AI. Ah! It's either the death of civilization or it's nirvana. Actually, it's a tool. I want you to set things up. I want you to prepare a lot of material before you ever launch your marketing campaign. One of the best things is self-assessment using AI tools for that. You can identify the skills that you lack and you can hone up on those things. But you also have transferable competence. They called it this, you called it that. Translate from that to this. And if you need or you're considering other career paths, you can work with AI tools to show you where you might want to go. And there, I'm going to put all these up here at once. Job matching, this is a great way, I think, for people to find what they really want to do as opposed to doing what you got to do. So think of some of these. If you want to grab a screenshot real quick, please do it. On this 3, 2, 1. Okay. And you have to think about that. It's from their side, with the buyer side. What are you bringing to them? It's not what you did, it's how you can drive business outcomes. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything about artificial intelligence. You just need to know how it works and how you can use it. And that you're not an old fart fighting against it. The tide is here. It's coming in. You need to jump on that board and get there. Now, there are a number of different things that you can use. How about now that you're unemployed or underemployed, practice or experiment on how you might find a process improvement and show that during an interview, how you put together something that increased or improved process improvement. Sales, how you used it to target. You don't want to show how you used it to get a job. You want to show how you're going to help them. So all kinds of ways that we can do this. Oh, and if you can just throw in a couple of lines about data governance. This is an executive level kind of topic because data that goes onto AI is open LLMs. It's out there forever, and a lot of the stuff shouldn't be out there. It's proprietary information. So if you can show how you or demonstrate how you know that that holding data close is important, that puts you in a good light. Now, there are a whole bunch of resume builders out there, and I'll leave my thoughts on this. Okay, so it gives you, this one gives you good feedback. Kick Resume gives you good feedback, but they use templates, and a lot of templates can't get through applicant tracking system software. Was there somebody who needed to ask a question?
Let's mute and wait until we're all done.
I don't care.
Go ahead. Keep going,
Okay.
Dick.
So here's another one, Resume.io. It's a little more user-friendly, but it too uses templates, and they can be great for the human eye, but death to the computer's eyes. Resume Nerd, they get expensive and it's hard to cancel. So, those things are difficult. Worded optimizes your resume and your LinkedIn profile, but it can be overly wordy. You don't want to use AI as the final piece of the puzzle. Personalize it, personalize it, personalize it. And let's go for the negatives of these things. AI is very robotic. And have you ever seen that double wide hyphen? That tells me and everybody else that you've copied and pasted from AI. AI can't network for you.
Did you have? Did you get some water?
Excuse me, whoever that is, please mute.
A gorgeous girl. Yeah, you want hot?
Al, I'm going to mute everybody. Just
Not very nice, is it?
I can't figure out who this is.
Yeah.
Whoever that is talking, please mute. Thank you.
I have a recruiter friend, June Birchfield, that says AI can make you president of the United States. So you really need to be careful. You need to read through this. But I don't want you to let the great be the enemy of the good. Because, I mean, think about this. There's so many people out there using your platform. Okay, here's a prompt that I like to use. Can you provide 75 keywords from job descriptions currently on LinkedIn that automated going forth? So I used ChatGPT, and it responded, here are the 75 words. And they suggest that you use them in natural content, not just as a word cloud. Why do I want you to get 75 words? I mean, you can't put 75 keywords in a resume and profile. No, I want you to use your brain. Who knows what you do better than you? Certainly not a computer. You do. So I want you to also to practice on or use this on multiple platforms. Why? Well, when I use the exact same prompt on 3 different platforms, you'd think you'd get the same answers, right? No. Here's one keyword: cybersecurity on Claude. Well, when I go to Gemini, it wasn't cybersecurity, but cybersecurity compliance. And when I went to ChatGPT, it didn't think cybersecurity was important at all. So I want you to figure out what platforms work best for you in what instance. So now's the time to ask, what 20 or 25 keywords and acronyms do I think a recruiter would use to find me? And I want you to keyword load in a base resume. And I love the hybrid resume style. I'd love to have a core competency section, but also I want the only thing that I personally, and I get a lot of people that don't always agree with this, the only things that I personally like for people to change is the job title that you list to be exactly what's in the job description, and maybe a couple of your keywords that you think are important for this particular job. The reason I'm not big, I never have been big on massive changes to one's resume, or the 2 reasons actually. But one is I used to do it, and I would take good stuff out of my resume and forget to put it back in later. The other thing is time. Time is your enemy. So here's, and let me go back here and tell you why time is your enemy. And I forget if I have a slide on this later, but I'll tell, if it does, it'll just prove what I'm saying. A lot of recruiters, and Linda, you tell me if you did this, when you got about 50 good enough resumes, that's when you stop and they'll be accepting resumes, but the recruiter doesn't have time to look at anymore. They've got to make a decision. They got to make it now. So if you're beyond, say, 50, by God, you better reach out to somebody, or else you're gonna get the rejection letter. Okay, so when it comes to AI generated material, 20% of they say candidates relying on it is a red flag. 20%
That's
of
low.
recruiters.
Actually,
Pardon?
that's low. Latest information says it's much higher than that.
That doesn't surprise me one darn bit.
When recruiters can find out that you're using AI and it looks like an AI generated resume or cover letter, it's an automatic red flag.
Yep. They say it's acceptable to proofread and draft and get some ideas, but 80% automatically reject AI generated resumes, even if they suspect you of using AI generated resume or a cover letter. And almost all companies out there are actively checking for generated content, and bingo, there you go out the window. So I want you to use AI to differentiate yourself. I want you to have a professional brand, create marketing materials. AI is great for helping you make this stuff. If you're not much of a writer, AI can give you great ideas, but personalize them. Use things, you can use Canva for your LinkedIn banner background. You can help you build a value proposition deck, prepare you for informational and interviews, networking event follow-up, that you can do that in advance. You can prepare for phone and face-to-face interviews, prepare a plan of action all in advance. Now, I'm from New Orleans, and I practically grew up at the Fairgrounds racetrack. Every time I think of Arlington International being gone, it brings a tear to my eye. So what you've done in the past are predictors of what you're going to do in the future. And yes, this was one of mine. So in my hometown of New Orleans, we have something we call lagniappe. So it's what they call a little something extra. Yeah. So who do recruiters find? We'll see if I have time to do this. Who do they find when they start looking? Do they find you, or do they find somebody else? So if we have time, and this is up to you, Linda, I can do some searches on LinkedIn. What I'm going to need from people who volunteer for this is your job title, and you can put this in the chat box if you want to. Then I need a handful of keywords associated with what you do, maybe the industry, and then your name, because a recruiter doesn't know your name. And I want to search exactly the same way that a recruiter would to see if I find you or if I find somebody else for your job. Oh, by the way, this is all in my book. Oh, I can be rented if you're interested. But since I told you what I do for a meager living, here are other people, a handful of other people around the country who I think very highly of. And all of these folks were contributed to my book. All right, so I'm going to get out of here and go to LinkedIn.
Yeah, that would be great. By the way, we're happy to stay on and let you do this, Al. So for those of you who have to leave, please, we understand. This will be posted on YouTube. In the meantime, if you are leaving, remember to copy the chat. I will put it in the LinkedIn group as well. But Al, keep going. While you're getting into LinkedIn, I want to say one thing. You and I differ slightly. And by the way, I'm really glad you've taken that 180 on the green banner.
Oh, yeah.
Because you and I have talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm green banner all the way. But one of the things that I would recommend when you're talking about your resume is that I'd like to see you change a little more than Al does. My version is not just the title of the job you're looking for. I want you to change your professional summary to talk about what you can do for this job, not just any job. Remember, we were talking about what you can do for them.
Yeah.
And I like to see you in your core competencies. Core competencies to me shouts these are all the things that I can do, as opposed to what I can do for you. So I actually suggest that people really customize that section as well. If the job isn't looking for COBOL, don't include COBOL in that competency section, even though that's something you do and do really well. Okay. It's what this job wants. And the reason for that, from a recruiter standpoint, I want to know that you've read my description, that you want to do my job, that you can do my job, and you're not going to be trying to add things that really aren't there. So that's the reason for changing that. The other thing that I might recommend is that in that accomplishments section, that right up at the top underneath or before those skills, you may want to change the order of those. Make sure that they're listed for the job that you're looking at. So I'm not asking for a lot of change. Your experience section is going to remain the same, right? That's the hardest part to put together. It's that top loading where I'm going to look in that first 2 to 9 seconds to see how you match my job. And you want to make it as easy as possible for the recruiter on this side of the desk or the screen, okay, what I call the dummy, to make it as easy as possible for me to see how you match me so that you can be one of those 200 resumes I'm going to take a better look at to narrow it down to the 50, to narrow it down to the 10 I'm going to call.
And you made a great point about how long it takes for a recruiter to read your resume. 2 to 9 seconds. I'd heard 2 to 6 seconds, but who cares? About 3 seconds. But think about it, your entire professional career in 2 to 6 seconds, 2 to 9 seconds. So you have to hit them hard. You have to hit them in the nose. Get it up front. Get that information up front. Do something to grab their attention.
Absolutely.
So
perfect. Thank you. Okay. I've got a couple of questions out here. So
yeah,
drop the skills and go with core. So Kevin, I think we just talked about that. I don't want you to go with core. Core to me says anything you want or anything I've ever done, as opposed to here's what my expertise is for this job. But
Right, so basically we'll go with what the job says that I expertise in.
Exactly. And as much as you can, use their words, because those are the words that I'm searching on.
Yep.
Gotcha.
The agents that a recruiter uses at this point in terms of the ATS aren't sophisticated enough to know that IT and information technology are exactly the same thing. So use their
Gotcha.
words. That's where my eye's going to see.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. I see a volunteer here from Carl.
Okay. So
Okay.
now I'm no admin, so
No, I'm reading it.
job title?
Job title is Carl, president. You're looking for president for a manufacturing company? What
Yes.
job title are you looking for, Carl?
President for a manufacturing company.
Okay.
Since president is one word, I don't have to have quotation marks around it.
No. Okay.
And manufacturing.
All right. P&L. Global. High tech. Carl, you're saying leadership. Leadership is not one of the ones I'm going to search on. It's not a Boolean search term because too many people use it.
What do I do here? P&L.
Okay.
Oh, there's a typo on P&L.
Thanks. I
Okay.
was wondering what the hell. Oh, I must have hit cap lock.
It's all right. Revenue growth.
I think whoops, screwed that up, didn't I? Let's try this again. Where am I? I got lost here.
Are you doing this on Google or are you doing this on LinkedIn?
No, I pressed the wrong button here.
Right. So remember, guys, you can do a Boolean search on LinkedIn for all of these terms.
Still did it wrong. No, that's all right.
All right.
What do we have? High tech.
High tech. Revenue growth. I don't know how many more you want.
I think that's going to be about it.
Got it. Perfect.
So you'll notice that if it's a single word, I don't have quotation marks around it. If it's 2 or more words that have to follow in succession, it needs to have quotation marks. So let's see. And the next thing we're going to do is people, and then we're going to look at location. Come on.
LinkedIn is slow this morning.
Yeah, it is. Location. Where do you live?
St.
Carl, where are
Louis.
you located?
Say again.
St. Louis, but I actually
St.
am open to relocation. So I consider doing United States, but I understand that's not good in LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's not good.
Okay.
There's a place where you can add under settings and privacy, you can add a series of cities that you might be interested in.
Thank you.
You can also do it in the open to work area when you're talking about that. You can list the areas that you're open to.
Yeah. And let's look for you there. And we found you. Page 1, position 1 in St.
Excellent.
Louis, which is really, really good. Almost nobody has that result. So
I'm glad I'm sitting down for this.
pardon?
I'm glad I was sitting down for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to go through a couple of things that I would suggest. I would actually suggest that you put the term in your headline, president.
Yes.
If you're searching, if you want to be found for president, I would do that. I love that you have lots and lots of content. One thing that you may want to do, might want to say, let's see, in my role as a president in manufacturing operations, other accomplishments as president of manufacturing operations, so on and so forth. Something else that I love that you've done is that you have contact information in your about section. Especially for the females here, but males too. I don't want to be misogynistic. Sign up for Google Voice, so that Google will assign you a phone number, and when somebody calls your Google Voice number, it'll go to your personal number without the originator knowing your personal number. A little bit of safety there.
Right. The other thing you can do is as long as you have an email address listed and you're checking that email, you don't need to include that phone number unless you choose
Correct.
to. Because when somebody reaches out to you by email, you can give them the phone number at that point. You already have it.
Now you get 2,000 characters for every one of your jobs. I like to see more content. It brings more. It's like the sheriff in Jaws throwing out the gook into the water. That gook bloody gook that he was throwing out is called chum. It's to draw the fish to the boat. And in job search, words are your chum to draw recruiters to your boat, your next job. So let me add another one of these.
As part of your headline, guys, if you want to be found, make sure that you start with the job titles you are looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm going to see the first 40 characters of your headline. Even if I don't go into your profile, I will see those first 40 characters. Those are the ones you want me to be most conscious of. So it's not experience, it's not servant leader, it's, whatever. President.
So, Linda, I was in a session with Kevin D. Turner.
Yes.
Earlier this week. He said the algorithms changed in regard to the headline, and the job titles and hard skills aren't what they were, at least Impact, 2 weeks ago. So
okay, then I need to check with Kevin, but you're right.
But the algorithms plural are changing all the time.
Right.
So still, when a human finds you, you want them to see what they want.
Right.
So and it's still massive, the weight in the headline.
So it doesn't have to be leading with it, but you want to make sure that it's there someplace. And if you've got the open to work, they will be there.
Yep.
Right? Those job titles are there, and that's important.
Yep. I really would suggest putting the open to work banner on there.
Yep.
I guess I've heard feedback from executive recruiters that appears desperate if you're going for senior level roles. And so that's why I've chosen not to do that at this point.
So wearing both sides or all sides of that hat, and having been an executive recruiter as well as working inside, we find that if you have that green banner up, you are 40% more likely to be contacted or to have a recruiter actually look at your information on LinkedIn. Strictly up to you, Carl, especially at that presidential level. If you want to, I would do it as open to work recruiters only. Now, the problem with recruiters only is that only gets seen by the fewer than 30% of recruiters on LinkedIn who are using and paying for LinkedIn Recruiter. And that's
$1,000 a month.
Do you feel that having as a current employer currently seeking opportunities and also using interviewing now instead of he, him, is not sufficient to show that I'm looking for work versus that?
You can. It's just the way that people are looking at it. So you can do it either way. If you're comfortable putting up the green banner, put it up. Try it for a little while and see, and take it down. Okay, and see if there's a difference. no, you don't need to put it up for an executive level position, but do make sure that there is something in that profile readily seen that says you're looking for that next job.
Thank you. Very good.
One of the
Okay.
things I like putting in a profile is sneaking the word seeking in. And a way to do this forever that you never have to take it out is earn the reputation for always seeking new opportunities to fill in the blank.
Right. Now, just be careful with that. Make sure that you fill in the blank, because otherwise, people are going to say you're always looking. So even when you find a job, you're never going to stay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
you
that
got to fill in the
subtle-
blank.
Right.
Earn the
Right.
reputation for always seeking new opportunities to improve profitability, or what
Right.
you fill in the blank, but it
To
needs
learn
to
and
be
grow, to help other people to something. But that word seeking
Absolutely.
opportunity, if
Do we
I'm
wanna do
searching,
another one?
seeking opportunities will come up. Okay,
Thank
great.
Thank you, Linda.
Let's do another one. Yes, Diana, the green banner is a spam and I can't even say it. A spam and scam magnet, absolutely true.
Yep.
But it also is absolutely true that you can filter some of that out. You have to be willing to put up with it, but you are much more likely to be seen, found, and contacted if you have it up.
Yep.
So,
And that was 6 years ago when it first came out. I tried it and I didn't like the spam, and that's why I had a negative thought
Right.
of it. But by God, we're here to get a job.
Yep.
And I'm willing to put up with spam. If I was a job seeker, I'd put up with the spam to get a job more quickly, because time is your enemy. Think about how much that it costs you to be out of a job. You know, during the Great Recession, the average time in transition was 40.4 weeks. That's over 9 months. Can you afford to be out of a job for 9 months? Multiply that times your salary.
right.
That's
And right
that's
now
what it's costing.
we're finding it's even longer than 9 months right now.
No,
for many jobs.
it's ugly.
So yes, and by the way, with the spam that's out there, yes, you can easily recognize it, report it. LinkedIn is getting better about at least listening to. They're not necessarily doing anything about it. But the more of us that report some of that spam, the more likely they are to start doing something about it. Okay, by the way, my contribution to Al's book is about the green banner.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and that whole how do you let people know that you're looking? Okay, let's do another one.
Okay.
Who else?
I'll volunteer.
You
Okay.
got
Job title?
Pricing,
Pricing
F-
manager, pricing
pricing manager,
and
FP&A manager,
FP&A. Let me put quotation marks around that.
portfolio analyst, and lastly, deal desk, 2 words. And I'm in the New York City metro area.
Okay. We're looking for people. We are looking for New York metropolitan area. And that's Todd.
That's me.
There we go. Let's what we looked for, Todd, was really specific.
Yes.
And I wonder if a recruiter is going to use some of those terms.
So can you help me as to, I've always had this question, what would a recruiter might look at? Because those are like the key jobs I've had in the last dozen years.
Mm-hmm. You know, if these are the thing, well, I would search for the number of jobs that are posted for some of these to see whether those are things that you still want to talk about. I like to have a balance between the number of jobs and the number of people. You know, if there's a lot of jobs and there are a lot of people, okay, this is an active job title. But if one is lower than the other dramatically, you know, then it's something you might want to think about.
That's a good point, Al, because I've had this conversation with some of my former coworkers. The term pricing manager has kind of fallen away in the last half dozen years.
Yeah.
FP&A manager is now the the new thing. So that's why I lead with that. As you can see here, what I could do is I could drop the pricing manager even lower down, something of that nature.
Sure. One thing I think I'd like for you to do is get rid of these images. Kevin Turner is one of that told me about this, that some images can stop material from being read in search bots.
So
Are you
would-
talking about the headline now?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Well,
So
should I use a comma then instead?
yeah, I would put commas. And the reason I used to like vertical pipes. I like the way they look. But whenever I used a vertical pipe, I always wanted to have the end of the word, a space, the vertical pipe, a space, and then the next word. And that chews up so many characters. And you only get 220 characters. And you want to take full advantage of the weight in the algorithm. So
Okay.
One more thing, I'm sorry, one more thing with that vertical pipe, because I like them too. I've just taken them out of my profile, but if you're using just the emoji, the vertical pipe that's on your keyboard, LinkedIn sees it as an or,
there we go.
okay, because it's machine language. However, if you're using that vertical pipe from the emoji keyboard, it's seen as an emoji and it doesn't count. So it still has that same look, okay, but it works with LinkedIn.
Because there was an article out last week, and a few of us on this call had talked about it over the weekend, and I just got rid of my vertical pipes using a standard keyboard. And
Yep.
so there was a suggestion either to use a star or a quarter moon or something else.
Yep.
But yeah, if are the commas a non-character on the search?
Well, it takes one character, but you're not
Right.
needing to put one before and one after.
Right.
You know,
Perfect.
Yeah,
a
the
space.
comments will work. We found that even some of the bullets, if you're using it from an emoji keyboard as opposed to anything else, will work as a separator.
Perfect.
But if you
Okay.
look at Kevin Turner's, he's taken all those pipes out of his, and he's now uses the commas.
Thank you for that clarity, because that's a question that we've been talking about. So thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
for helping us all here.
Sure. That's
Can
what
I
we're
ask
here
a
for.
question? Oh, sorry. Can I ask a quick question? I just looked.
Or you
I'm sorry.
just want to know who you are.
Oh, it's Lisa Pagano. It's okay. So I searched myself based on what I had, and I came up on page 4 of what I was searching for.
That you can't really search for yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the algorithm pushes you up towards the top, but right now it pushes you away from the top. So I do a process I call words to work. I want to out SEO the competition. It's one of the things that I'm most known for, and I want to search and find clients to see where they are, so they're on LinkedIn page 1 or anytime
Right.
they get in searching, and any combination. There are lots of combinations. So if you do this on your own, if you borrowed somebody else's profile to look for you, it should be somebody that's not a first level connection, but that person needs to have an enormous network, or else you're swimming in too shallow of a pool. And so you might be higher. It would show you higher than in a recruiter. I mean, think about how many contacts, total network a recruiter has.
Right.
I mean, Linda probably has 20,000 first level connections. But your friend down the street might have 1,000. So you're swimming in a real shallow pool.
Can you quickly just look me up then to see?
Okay, job title.
Legal operations, either senior manager, director, or manager.
By the way, in these Boolean searches, you can use and, you can use or as a way of trying to do some of those searches.
And not. Is it?
And not, yes.
Regulatory, governance.
Yeah. I heard you can also use pluses.
Yeah, I found that the words work better than the plus or minus.
Agree.
Okay.
What was the last word? Governance?
Yes.
Okay, let's go for that. And it's where are you located, Lisa?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, so the greater New
Oh, it
Orleans.
says Greater New York area though
Okay.
on my Greater New York. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. There you
Oh,
are.
there I am.
You know, I'm impressed by folks that are. I do a workshop that I call "Can Recruiters Find You?"
Mhm.
And in the first half of it, I show why it's important to be LinkedIn page one. But then in the second half, I do this for a half an hour for people in the workshop, and I'll go 5 pages, and then I go to their profile. But I'm finding you. One thing I would suggest is to change your banner so that
Okay.
it says something. You could put something legal in there, so that people know what you do is before they read a word.
Okay.
Linda, is your current employer called Currently?
Mine?
No, sorry.
No,
Lisa.
I was
Lisa,
playing
sorry,
with,
Lisa.
I had self-employed, but I was looking for anything. LinkedIn will only, I guess, you search better if you have a picture or a logo associated with it. And that was that was available. If that's not a good
So
title
one of
to,
the things that I'm offering to people in this group, I set up a company page specifically called Career Search Lunch and Learn. Several of you have taken advantage of it. You can put yourself as a contributor to Career Search Lunch and Learn. It lists it, then it's got a logo. You can use that as your current job if you need to.
okay.
Okay. And then you say, while looking for my next opportunity as.
Yep.
Okay. I'm giving back in this way. Take a look at Lisa Vitali Hess has done it that way. I think Lorena. Sorry, Lorena, I don't know whether you're still here, but I can't pronounce your last name off the
Yes,
top of my head.
Kazaric. Yes, Linda.
Yep.
I've also taken advantage of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's just it's a placeholder job, placeholder company, but you're right. LinkedIn will find you more easily if you have a current job.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And your current job can be whatever it is you want to call it, but a logo with it is useful. There are some placeholder companies out there that you want to look at as well. Some just say currently looking for X, okay, opportunities, and that's okay too. But make sure that whatever placeholder job you use, whether it's Career Search, Lunch and Learn, or anything else, that you are saying, here's what you're doing now, and here's what you are doing to find your next job in this area.
Yeah, I used that in my experience just
Yep.
to explain what I was doing or
Right,
what
but
I'm currently searching.
That having that logo works because right now your logo is just saying currently doesn't work.
Right.
Okay.
And you have 83 more skills you can add.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can go up to 100. By the way, next week, what we're talking about is LinkedIn skills. And we're going to be talking about why it's important, how to use those market value terms, how do you get found? And we're also going to do some work in terms of endorsing each other for those skills.
Okay.
So that's what next week's session is all
Okay.
about.
Thank you for that, Al. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. And
You're
Linda for
welcome.
your feedback.
Sure.
You're welcome. So it's almost pushing
Yep.
1:30.
Yep. So we can stay on for another couple of minutes. I see another hand up. Al,
Okay.
we're working on your time frame right now.
So let's do one more.
Okay.
Job title.
Project manager.
And
Greater Chicago area.
well, let's add some more.
Titles.
Let's add some more keywords.
Okay.
Technology.
Acknowledging.
Is
Agile. Uh, digital services.
Anything else?
That should be good enough.
Okay. People. Location.
Greater Chicago area.
And Kevin Davis.
Oh,
Okay. This.
If you're not found in the first couple of pages, one of the things that tells us is that you don't have the right keywords and skills in your profile to be found.
okay. Yeah, I gotta fix my keywords big time.
So I'm going to look at one more page. And you think about it, if a recruiter is looking for 20 to 25 people,
Right.
if they do a people search, there are 10 people per page. So if you're on page 1 or page 2, your profile will be read. If you're on
Okay.
page 3, you have a really good chance of having your profile viewed. But if you're beyond page 3, you have almost no chance. So let's look at, let me go back here. Kevin Davis. So you're kind of like me with a name.
Yeah.
Is it you?
Technical project manager. Okay.
So
me.
if I had put technical project manager, that might have helped.
Right. Okay.
And
My mistake.
I think I looked for agile, and you're a safe agilist. Oh, yeah, you do have agile. I'm sorry. So I don't know exactly how many characters this is. I can find out real quick. I would change from the vertical pipes. I think that's better. Copy that. See if I can see how many characters you've used. But I know you have some remaining. And I always suggest doing your work in a Word document, because if you click down on the bottom left-hand side, it says the number of words you've used. If you click on that, it tells you how many characters with spaces you've used. And in your case, Kevin, you've used only 135 of the 220 you have available to you. And that's a lot of weight that you're missing.
So I'm missing a lot of stuff then.
You have some challenges, but this is typically the case. I mean, when I do this words to work process, most people's profiles are so bad that when I do a competitive analysis between my client's profile, current profile, and 7 to 9 of their best competitors, I start by reading 120 people's profiles.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get 20.
Right. You know,
and in one case, I read through 250 people's profiles to get 17.
Okay. I get working with keywords big time.
Yep.
Nice.
Again, so come next week and we'll talk more about that. I've got a couple of people in the chat who've asked whether you could do one more, Al. Okay. How about Craig Cunningham?
Get back in here.
By the way, if I've missed anybody in the chat, I apologize. I've been paying attention to what the presentation is all about, so I missed the chat. If you've got questions, you're welcome. If you've got questions in the chat that I missed, okay, I will get back to you at a later date. Okay. By the way, if you've got nuggets that you're pulling out of this, I'm seeing some great ones here. Share them on LinkedIn too, so that we can get other people involved in these kinds of meetings.
Yeah.
They see what's all about. By the way, Al, when you're done, put a link to the book in chat if you want to, or how people get a hold of you, because it will go into our private group as well.
Okay.
All right.
So all this material is in my book. All of this material, and the book is a whopping 6 weeks old, so it's current.
It is.
Was there one more person we're going to look?
Easy read, which is one of the things that I like. Okay.
And it's full of my weird sense of humor.
I was going to say, very easy to read, actionable advice, lots of things that you can do, and you'll get different perspectives and different ways, different styles of writing. So I think it's a pretty good read.
Please repeat the title of the book.
It's Hired with an exclamation point and then the number 3, every employment method. And with a name like Al Smith, I have to use Alfred M. Smith, or else you would get the guy who ran for president in 1928. Let me grab a link for that.
Book was excellent, by the way.
Well, thank you. Hey, if you liked it, be sure to say something in write a recommendation in LinkedIn. I'm sorry.
You got to get your autograph somehow.
Where are you?
I'm in the shoreline of beautiful Connecticut.
I like it. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Oh, You get that's not what I was looking for. Okay. Sorry it takes so long. I gotta
That's
find
okay.
this chat.
And now you said you can't search for yourself because I've tried that multiple times and I just ain't showing up.
Yeah, it pushes. I just put my link to my book in there. It's AS in the Amazon. But yeah, searching for yourself is virtually impossible.
Okay.
So you know, it's a pain.
In being a connection, it also throws that number off too.
Yes, I've done this with Alex Freund a number of times, where I'd search for him when we're first level connections, and I wouldn't find him until page 8 or something. Then I would purposefully drop him as a first level connection, hit refresh, wait a minute or two, do this exact same search, and bingo, he's on page 1. That's how dramatic it is. So was I looking for one other person?
Yeah, Craig Cunningham,
Okay, Craig, give me your job title.
Director, Human Resources.
And
I've got on it project management. I'm just looking at what I put into my title. Hold on one second, sir.
if you want to use words that you think a human resource or a talent acquisition manager would use to find you.
Yeah, leadership, compliance, coaching and development.
Let's I think that's probably going to be about as many as LinkedIn will let us go.
Okay. And maybe I've got the wrong titling.
And let's location. Where are you?
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
I'm showing in LinkedIn as New York City metropolitan area.
Okay, let me put that in there.
You don't want to narrow it to Connecticut.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to use the metro area. And I didn't. Oh, Craig. Okay. So not on page 1. It's funny. I think it's amazing that of course I get the most clients from the Atlanta area, but the second largest group of clients I have is from the New York City area. And third is Denver. I have no idea why Denver. Okay, so I'm not finding you. Let's look for you by name. I went 5 pages.
That's not good.
It gives you something to shoot for. I think this is you. Look, we're first level connections. That could be the reason why I didn't find you.
Okay.
So I don't have this up anymore. Okay. I wonder if is leadership a word that a recruiter would use to
No.
I didn't think so either.
Okay.
You want the hard skills. Leadership is one of those things that I'm assuming you have. That's one of the things that we'll talk about.
If you're a director, you have leadership skills or else you're fired.
Okay.
Correct.
So let's look.
Hey, Linda and Al, it's Laura Travers. I'm another HR person. How you doing? So I just had a question. Maybe I misunderstood or what you said before. You had talked about making sure you have job title in the in your heading. Are you recommending just different related job titles?
No, not at all.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
so keywords besides job
Yes.
title. That's what I thought. That's what I have. Okay.
Yeah. You want to put your desired job title, but then words that you think a recruiter would use, a talent acquisition manager would use to find you, or terms that would separate you from other people.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And use every damn character you can.
Right. Okay.
And one of the things with LinkedIn, and again, we're going to talk about that often, and we talk about it again next week. Make a change, any change. Even if you put it you change a word and then you put it right back in, but every time you change something, do it at least once every 2 weeks. LinkedIn
Right.
puts you back up to the top of the profile list because it reanalyzes everything in your profile.
Right, I've heard that.
One of the things I joke about in my resume writing workshop is to, no matter what job board you have your LinkedIn, you have your resume posted to, every Friday before noon, do something to it, change it. And what my joke is do you have a comma somewhere in your resume? Change a comma and turn it to a semicolon. Update. Boom! You're at the top of the heap.
Exactly.
Next Friday before noon, change it back to a comma. Boom! You're at the top of the heap.
Right. Same thing with the open to work.
Yeah.
Take it off and take it back on again.
Yeah.
Okay. LinkedIn updates instantaneously, but it immediately reanalyzes everything that's out there and puts it up.
I have a question about leadership. So, Craig had it on, and I'm a corporate trainer, and leadership training is one of the things that I do. So I do have leadership in my tagline.
But that's different.
It is.
Okay.
You're not saying leadership, you're saying leadership training. That's entirely different.
Okay. Professional leadership. I was trying to get professional
not
development.
professional leadership. Professional leadership is just that soft skill again.
Okay.
Okay. Leadership training is something entirely different.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So
By the
just back to me for a second, if I could just ask. So I will drop leadership. And based on what you, Linda, and you, Al, see with that strategic operational coaching, development, compliance, are those okay, or should I be changing those as well?
Well, okay, so what I would suggest is to look for 10 or so perfect jobs, and don't just look in the New York City area. Look for perfect jobs from anywhere across the country. Put them all in a Word document. Then go to, I personally use Claude more than anything else, and ask them to find the 75 most important words out of that group. And then you upload that Word document. You've saved it, you upload it.
Right.
And it'll give you keywords and terms. Read through them to find the 20 terms that you think a recruiter would use to find you or separate you from other people, and populate, easy for me to say, your profile, and especially your headline and about section with those words.
Okay.
Not the soft skills.
You're right.
Let me repeat it again. Not the soft skills.
If we were sitting in here with college kids, I'd say you need a soft skills section because you don't have them. But everybody I see has had either a Clairol moment or we've been around a little while.
Yep. Boy, I haven't heard a Clairol moment in a long time. Right. Okay.
Only my hairdresser knows for sure.
Mine too. Okay. Al, we have more questions. We're not going to get to everybody, and I apologize, but that tells me that this was a session that you all appreciated. So in the chat, put down what you'd like to see us follow up with. Okay. Put the word idea or next so that we know what other things you want to do. If you have questions we haven't answered, we will try and get back to those at a later date. But Al, this has been fantastic. I did have one question for you. Several people asked whether or not you would share a copy of the slides.
I can't because I've used some other people's material.
And that's quite all right. So,
which is why I say take screenshots.
So what I'm going to suggest is that if you want a copy of what was on that screen, when you are go to the video, stop it, take your screenshot from there if you haven't done it already.
Yeah.
Okay. But I will put all of this information in the chat. Share the nuggets that you've gotten on LinkedIn. I'm going to do a post about it. Make sure that you all do as well. Okay. Buy Al's book. It's a good one. It gives you lots of good information.
It's the green book, not the gold book, and certainly not the black book. But this is my third, and it doesn't have the banner across it. Anyway.
Okay. So it's a good one. Okay. We are
Can I-
now.
Can I trouble you with another question? I just followed your advice. I put myself finally open to work. The floodgates have opened. Thank you both very much. I'm being very selective, though. I just got an interesting one, and some of them you could kind of tell, yeah, I really don't want to connect. There's a person, looks like they want to connect, allegedly a talent development person with Lockheed Martin, which was one of my target companies.
Mm-hmm.
She's based in London, England. I go on her profile and there ain't a lot of information. Yeah, okay.
How many connections does she have?
Asking. Okay.
Yeah.
How many connections does she have?
I can't, it's not telling me, which is probably not good.
Nothing. So here's the deal. If you are ever concerned about some of those profiles, you can't tell whether or not they're real. You
Yep.
do your search. If you can't figure it out, DM me and I'll do
Yep.
it for you. But if in doubt, walk away.
Yep. Got it.
Run.
Thank you.
Okay. Al, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this.
My
We
pleasure.
really appreciate it. We're going to do a wrap-up post in a day or two, depending upon when I get, sorry about that, when I get around to it. But the video is already up, and we're going to go from there. Again, share your information, share your nuggets, share your ideas about what we want to talk about next. And next week, we are talking about that whole idea of skills. So it's a continuation of what we're talking about today. How do you best use them? How do you find them? Which ones are most appropriate to put up? Okay. And then we're going to talk about the fact that you need to have some endorsements for those skills you want to most be found for. Copy the chat. For those of you who don't know how, go into the top upper right corner of the chat box where it says Career Search Lunch and Learn, and off to the right there are 3 dots. Click on those and it'll say Save Chat, or you can do it the old-fashioned way. Click anywhere into the chat box, do a select all, control select all, and then control copy and put it into a document of your own. I will add it to the chat myself, but it may take me a day or two, and in the meantime,